Hello, YouTube. This is Keith Kevin Ken. How you doing? How you doing? I hope you're doing well. It's time again for another Knife of the Day. That's the series where we go through my collection one knife at a time, one day at a time, Monday through Friday. And then on the weekend, I take a bunch of knives that have something in common. Like I took all of the delicas that I have in my collection, Spyderco delicas, and we do a video on it. Last weekend I did Spyderco chaparrals, so that's an example. But today we're talking about the knife of the day, and the knife of the day is the Chris Reeve large Sebenza 21 with the Insingo blade. I'll tell you, I have a lot of Chris Reeve knives, as I keep telling you guys. About 56 of them. The reason I say that is it's all variations. Some subtle variations, some huge variations, like, large Sebenza and the Menundi. That's a huge variation, right? But what I love is when you get a plain Jane body. And a plain Jane Sebenza is just plain. It's the pure titanium handle. And then you have a subtle change to the blade, whether it's, and you'll see all of them as we go through the knives. For instance, if it's, I have plain Jane Sebenzas with a Damascus blade. I have plain Jane Sebenzas with the, with this, right? With the Insingo blade or the Tanto blade. I love that because you've got that classic Chris Reeve feel, look, everything. And I'm sorry, I like classics. I love all of the bling. That's why I have all these variations with all of the different woods and carbon fiber and all that. I love that stuff too. But if you ask me, it's the classics. A lot of people do ask me, by the way, if they're going to buy their first Chris Reeve knife, which one would I recommend? And I have all these variations, and we're going to talk about this variation with the Insingo blade. And I'm also asked, do you like the Insingo blade or the regular Chris Reeve blade? And my answer is always the same. I always start with, I like them both. But if you're only going to buy one, or if you're only testing out one thing, I say the same thing with Spydercos. Go with the classic. For a Spyderco, buy a Delica, buy a Paramilitary 2, buy a Mannix, and get the one with FRN scales or G10. Figure out if you like the knife first, and then the variations will come next. Don't get a variation and say you don't like it, then you'll never even try out the classic. I say the same thing about an Insingo blade or the regular blade. I love the Insingo blade, and we'll talk about that. It's a Chris Reeve invention. But I always recommend go with the regular standard first. It's not like you won't fall in love with an Insingo blade, but how do you know the difference unless you have just the regular first? So let's talk about the Insingo blade. Of course, it's S35 VN steel. That's what Chris Reeve is rocking right now. It is like all the other blades. It is hollow ground. It's stone washed, which I really like, the stone washing. It has, I like this. Right down the spine of the blade, it's rounded. There's a lot of care in a Chris Reeve knife. The jimping is just enough. It doesn't cut your finger. Now, the Insingo blade was put together with Chris Reeve, and what he came up with, there's subtle changes, but you'll see it once I talk about it. He put together a sheep's foot style blade, but it has this nice little belly, sheep's foot. Now, usually when you get a sheep's foot blade, you don't have anything that pierces. You don't have the point. Well, what he did was he brings down the tip, Can you see this? There's a swedge there that makes it very, very thin. Very, very thin. And it's not even sharpened. It's a non-sharpened part, but you can feel it slice. It feels almost sharpened. Literally, it does. It feels like a dull blade shape. And it goes down to the point. This thing goes in like butter. It's just a real nice knife. Almost the chef's knife with that belly. So it just gives you a lot of possibilities. It's a great EDC knife. That's the Insingo blade from Chris Reeve. Of course, the Sebenza is Zulu for work. Chris Reeve is from South Africa. Zulu is the native language of South Africa. So all of his knives are named with Zulu names. And a Sebenza is all about work. It's sturdy. It's so well put together that it's unbelievable right out the box. This has one lug. It opens up just perfect. As you use it, at first, it doesn't stick out of the box. It's very usable. But as you use it, it just becomes like butter to open and close it. Has a lifetime guarantee from Chris Reeve. These all, as you guys can see, made in Idaho. Can you see that? All American made. So that Insingo blade, S35 VN steel, is 3.6 inches. You can get the Insingo blade on smaller knives as well. You'll see those in my collection as well. Smaller Chris Reeve knives. You know, the Inkosi as well as the small Sebenza 21. You can't get it in the Manundi. You cannot, as far as I know. I haven't been able to see it. If I did, I'd grab it. I really would. 3.6 inches, S35 VN steel. The entire length of a big Sebenza 21 is 8.3 inches. And the weight is 4.7 ounces, but man, is it distributed nice. This knife can do any task that you want it to do. Anything. Light task like I use it, or heavy duty task. Any task, you can deal with it. You can always send it back to Chris Reeve if it gets out of alignment or anything else. If you take it apart, they give you a tool and grease. If you take it apart and can't put it together, they say put it in a bag, ship it to us, we'll put it together for you. The plain Jane part is the handle, just great titanium. Simple pivot. It rides on washers, but it's so well done. See-through construction. Comes with the lanyard. The clip just works. It's not pretty. It just is not pretty, but man, does it work. And of course, the Chris Reeve integral frame lock that he created as well. It all just works. And that Insingo blade does great cutting. This is a wonderful tool, a great knife, something that can last a lifetime. I have a son, a grown son in his 20s, and I have 5 grandsons. Okay? Literally, the youngest grandson could have one of my Chris Reeve knives, and it can look and feel like this, because you can always send it back in. The knife of the day is just a real nice knife, especially when you're talking about Chris Reeve Sebenza 21, but that Insingo blade is special. But get the standard first if you're going to first get a Chris Reeve knife. Just see what the talk is about and whether you like it or not. Then go on the variations. And by the way, you're going to see a whole lot of variations on this Keith Kevin Ken channel. I figured I'd add some color to the comparison. This is the Endura from Spyderco, and this is the Paramilitary 2 from Spyderco, just to give you a feel for the size of the large Sebenza 21 with the Insingo. There you have it. If you're enjoying these daily videos, taking a look at the knife. Yeah, the knife of the day. Don't forget to thumb it up. Let me know that you're out there. That just keeps me going. Anyone will tell you, even people who make money off of YouTube will tell you, even these young kids will tell you that it's just hard to, and they don't have another job to do it day in and day out. I love it. I love talking to you guys. I feel like I know you. But those thumbs up, they don't matter to anything else but just to me. Just, they're really nice. So are your comments. Thank you very much. I know I'm way behind on responding, working on some tough projects at work, but I'll get to, I read them all the day that you send them, sometimes minutes before. I mean, minutes after. Sorry, I can't do it minutes before. Minutes after. So please give them, and I will respond to you. I really appreciate that. Share the videos. Let people know that we're out here. And also, don't forget to subscribe. That does matter to me. Turn on your notifications so you don't miss all of the videos. Once I get new knives in, you guys know I do a daily until all the new knives are talked about. I really appreciate all of you guys. Hey, take a couple of seconds away from, man, I know how hard it is. That's why I always remind you guys and ask you to do it, because, man, I don't do it. I have iPads and iPhones and everything else, TV screens all over my place, and I'm always on it and playing around with it. But turn it off. Sit down in your favorite chair and spend some time alone with yourself. All right? It just makes you a better person. I wish I would have done that 20 years ago. All right? I would have been a better husband, father, etc. You guys have a perfect day. Take good care of yourselves. Keep those pockets full. Goodbye.